So I'll show them to you and talk a little bit about these places. So, sit back and relax, 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 and of course, I'll get started. So, I don't travel often, and partly because I have a crippling fear of flying. But the first time I've ever been on a plane was when I was 22 years old. I'm 33 now, so that was 11 years ago. And that was from Montreal, where I'm from, to Calgary, Alberta. So we took a trip, my friend and I. We just booked a flight like last minute, and we just said, I want to go to Calgary, which is on the west coast of Canada. So that was my first real plane trip. So when I took that flight from Montreal to Calgary, we stopped in Manitoba. We had like a layover. So I got this magnet. I didn't go outside. I didn't like visit Manitoba, specifically Winnipeg. But I was so excited that I was on a plane and I was in Manitoba that I bought this magnet. And it has buffalo on it. I remember I got off the plane and I called my dad and I said, Dad, I'm in Winnipeg. I was so excited. So, 11 years ago, when I was 22, Winnipeg, Manitoba. I would like to actually visit Winnipeg. I forgot to mention, I started this tradition because my mom, she used to go to a lot of business trips back in the 90s. And she would always come home with magnets for my brother and I with our names on them. So she would go to like Chicago and Boston and San Francisco. So I kept the tradition going. So for the actual place that I went, Calgary, Alberta, my first real plane trip. It says Calgary on it. C-A-L-G-A-R-Y. And bus ride. And just going through the Rocky Mountains. I remember just seeing them for the first time. It was like a painting. It was so beautiful. It was as if someone took a paintbrush and gently painted the sky with such a beauty. I had the window seat and I was just staring out the window in complete awe. And Banff, it's such a beautiful little town, and the mountains are right there in the town. So if you ever get out to Canada, I recommend it. There's describing it, and then there's seeing it with your own eyes. So my first trip, I was so proud of myself when I took the plane for the first time. And then the second awesome trip that I took, I always wanted to go to New York City. I think I went when I was about 22 or 23. I think it was almost the same year that I went to Calgary. And I went with a family member, and we drove. Drove all the way to New York. And seeing New York for the first time was so cool. Everything is just so grand and magnificent, actually. Went to Central Park and just all of the touristy stuff that you would do. Like, we went on a cruise that brought you up to the Statue of Liberty. Went on top of the Empire State Building. And just looking out at what seemed like forever of buildings, massive buildings. It's just incredible. And I went to New York City twice. I went in 2009 and I also went in 2010 with my best friend. And that was the second time I went. family's family member got married. So we went out to beautiful, beautiful British Columbia, which is the furthest western province of Canada. So this is a black bear, and it says Vancouver Island, BC. It's so undescribable, flying over the Rocky Mountains. I wish I can show you a picture. Maybe I can try to figure out how to do that. Show a picture on my video. I loved Vancouver. And we took a ferry from Vancouver to Vancouver Island. Went to the ocean. And I have a lot of pictures of mountains. I got another magnet on that same trip called British Columbia, the West Coast. British Columbia, the West Coast. And there are humpback whales. Again, if you're ever first I said no. Because it was over a 10-hour flight, and I panicked at the thought of that. Warsaw. And I told my friends that I wasn't going, and they said, "Are you crazy? Why would you not go?" The hotel would have been paid for. I just had to pay for my flight. So after careful consideration and putting my fear of flying aside, I said yes, but had 3 weeks to get my passport renewed and get prepared to fly 10 and a half hours to Poland. So that was the first time I had ever stepped foot in Europe. It was such a wonderful experience. The people there were so nice. If you asked for directions, they would literally walk you to where you're going. Like, their hospitality is just top notch. And my fiance would work during the day, and I would go exploring on my own. I went to Old Town, Warsaw, and there's just this realization of, oh my goodness, like, I'm standing on a World War II site. And many of you who watch me, I've mentioned a lot that my favorite subject is history. Like, I'm so interested in the war. And just to be standing there, it was a really amazing experience. And maybe for those who've been to Europe a lot, know what I'm talking about, or have been Europe before, know what I'm talking about. But in Warsaw, they've been through so much. Their city was completely destroyed, and they rebuilt, and it's almost a complete replica of what it used to look like when it was bombed. So it's new, but it's old. It has that old feel to it. And you hear about the war, like, in history, like in Canada, you hear about the war, but you hear about it from the perspective of overseas, but just being there and going to the museums and them talking about the war and what happened, and it's like right there where you're standing. It's just a different experience altogether. And I went to the war museums and the history of the Polish Jews, and it was just really, really, it's an experience that I hope that you guys would get to experience, and I want to go back. And explore other parts of Poland. And the best pierogies I ever had in my entire life. Oh my goodness. was the exact replica of what it was like before. And on the same trip, I got this Poland flag as well. Polska, P-O-L-S-K-A, Poland, P-O-L-A-N-D. The architecture there is just stunning. All the churches and I'm glad that I went. I had a few panic attacks on the plane, but I made it. And when we were coming home from Poland, we stopped off in Germany for a couple of hours. I didn't actually go outside, and I was upset that I couldn't, but I still got a magnet. We did a layover in Munich. I just didn't have time. I think we only had 2 hours to wait. By the time we got outside, I would have to check back with security. It would just be cutting it really close, and you don't want to be stuck across the world. But I was technically on German soil, so and I got the best chocolate I ever had from the airport. I cannot find it anywhere. It's like, I think it's the Ritter Sport brand, which they do have here in Canada. But it was like a wafer. It was like a wafer chocolate, and I can't find it here. And I was so upset because it was so good. But flying over Germany, you got to see the beautiful countryside. So I'm happy that I did get to see that. was it? 2010. So 2009 and 2010 was like a really, it was a big travel year for me. I went to Las Vegas. So, flew out there with a friend. And honestly, you don't have to go there to party and gamble. Believe it or not, I didn't do that. They have so much there. Like, they have just beautiful hotels, and there's so much to do in the hotels, and they have so many shows. Just walking along the Vegas Strip, there is so much to do, even free stuff. We stayed at the Bellagio Hotel. And had a beautiful view of the mountains. Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas. The restaurants are amazing, the food's amazing. Like I said, there's so much to do. We went to go see David Copperfield. He's a magician or an illusionist. We tried to go see Cirque du Soleil, but it was sold out. But the show that we saw was really, really cool. And then we saw we went to the Wax Museum. Yeah, it was, I recommend going. Like I said, you don't have to gamble, party. Oh, do you like my cat ears? I wore them in my last live stream, and you guys liked them. And I said that I would wear them on all my whispered videos, so I'm sticking true to my word. Okay, so where was I? Las Vegas. Totally recommend. There's another place that I like to go, and it's not super far. I mean, it's, yeah. There's this little town in Ontario called Stratford, Ontario. And every year they have a Shakespeare festival. Bieber is from, if you like Justin Bieber. So I've gone a few times. It's near Toronto. Shakespeare. Stratford Festival. I'll try to find out a way to show some pictures. Hopefully I can figure it out. Because I want to show you the swans. I saw 3 plays there, all Shakespeare plays. Okay, guys. I hope that you enjoyed me rambling about my trips. I tried to shorten it a little bit because I could have gone on forever and this would have been like a 5-hour video. So, just to show you the places I went. I love show and tells. I love show and tells. So, I really wanted to do one for you. I also really want to thank you for the kindness that you have shown. Recently, I posted a community chat post and I said that my mom gave me a glass and bowl to use for my ASMR channel for us because you guys really like textured glass. And the kindness and just, yeah, the kindness that you showed to my mom and you made her day. I just want to say that you really made me feel, I don't know, like proud that you guys are my subscribers. Like I have such a kind, thoughtful, family, community. And I don't see my mom often because of the pandemic and I hadn't seen her in 6 months, and for you guys to put a smile on her face means more to me than you'll ever know because she read all of those kind comments. So I just want to thank you for that. I hope that you're doing very well. I hope that things are going okay with you. I know times are still uncertain